boy K-Rino, man. Chilling with the homie Arian Smith. Check us out. Follow me on Twitter at the real K-Rino. Get all my music on iTunes and go to SouthParkCoalition.us. Yeah. Well, it's not animosity or aggression from the standpoint of like just disliking them just because. It's based around the people who control those record companies, the powers that are in charge of those major labels that have an agenda in place to dumb down the masses of the youth, in particular the black youth in the inner cities. So they promote and they distribute and release a lot of music that contributes to the detriment of our youth more so than the upliftment of our youth. So a lot of people listen to the radio and they hear artists like myself talking about that type of stuff, and they think that it's conspiracy theory, or they think that it's just nonsense. But if you look at the progression or the change that has taken place in music since maybe 20-25 years ago in hip hop, then you can see that it's not the same as it used to be. The songs are more raunchy. The songs are more geared towards promoting drugs, sex, violence, materialism, and any form of consciousness has been weeded out of the mainstream, or what we call the mainstream. So that's my beef that I have with the mainstream, but it's not a animosity or an aggression. No, the system doesn't work for us because a system that's designed to oppress you will never benefit you. See, this thing was set up to keep us down in the first place. So for us to try to fight and protest and beg, borrow, and steal rights that were never intended for us to receive in the first place is ridiculous on our part. You go all the way back to slavery. You go all the way back to the Jim Crow laws and things of that nature that were specifically set up in order to keep us in a lower position, in a position of inferiority. Then we have no win against the system. When you take it to the courts, we have no win. We've never had a win. They've always been able to kill, rape, pillage, steal, lie, destroy us, and walk away scot-free. And it's not just in the times of the civil rights struggle. It's all the way up into today, with the prison industrial complex being at the forefront, and the money that's generated by locking us up in the first place. So with that being said, no, this thing is never been for us, and it never will be for us. So like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the best thing that black people can do is separate, is remove ourselves from the United States and the ways of the United States, in order to have a chance to go for ourselves and defend ourselves. Well, when you say make it, it depends. See, that word that term means two or three things to different people or more. Some people view making it as what we just got through talking about, being a part of that mainstream commercialized world in hip hop or in music, where the MTV, BET, VH1, Grammy Awards, that's their definition of making it. And sometimes that comes at the cost of selling your soul. Now, if you are a pure artist and you have in your heart that I'm all about making music that's going to be timeless, that's going to be uplifting, that's going to be life-saving, then you've already made it. If you are making that kind of music and you have found your identity within that, and people are being affected in a positive way by it. So my advice would be just to tell anybody who's aspiring to be in the business to just make sure that you find your identity as an artist, and make sure that you are making music and writing words that will span time, that will last throughout time, and that can actually have a positive effect on people's life. If you do that, then you already have made it. Nah, I mean that's not my ambition anymore. It used to be when I was young in the game. I was just like everybody else. I used to send my demos off and try to get a record deal. But the more I became familiar with how these labels operate and what's expected of an artist and the things that they try to take away from you as an artist, then I lost the desire to be a part of that. The only way that I could ever see myself being a part of that, somebody would have to really come along that would offer me the full range of control over my projects that's necessary for me to be satisfied. I can't be on a label that tells me what I can and can't say on a record. I can't be on a label that tells me how I should dress, or how I should the things that I should stand for. So I mean, if they come at me right and give me a platform, which is highly unlikely, but if they give me the correct platform, then I wouldn't be opposed to it, because I would use that to get the message out, to try to save the people. Well, I never mentioned any artists by name on the Grand Deception. I think what happened was people saw the video and saw the visuals that was added to the audio, and then they put that together. I couldn't say definitely who was being controlled by the Illuminati, but I can say that in order for you to reach a certain height and a certain level in this industry, then there is a degree and a level of control that they would have to have over you, because you don't get into the $300, $400, $500 million club without them allowing you to get into that club. So with that being said, I mean, there are people who are contributing to the Illuminati agenda subconsciously without even knowing they're doing it, just because they're watching others who are high up and they're emulating them, because they feel like that's what they got to do in order to what we just got through talking about, so-called make it. So I don't have a name or 10 or 12 names. People speculate the same people that they always talk about, but not my place to say who is or who ain't until I know. And even then, that's between them and the creator and the master that they serving. So it ain't me, I can tell you that. Oh man, some of my best memories of Screw, I always think about, high school, because we went to school together for a while at Rothschild Sterling High, and he was just a humble natured guy. Always wanted to hear me rap. Was always gave me high praise as an artist. Screw have told me things that I never repeat in interviews, just complimentary things that I never repeat, because I don't want to try to build myself up into being somebody, major, but just some of the compliments and the things that he said about me, those are the things I remember when we talk about Screw. But more so, just the type of person that he was. He was the type of person that truly wanted to help everybody that he could. He wanted to help everybody that he could, man, and he had a way of handling everybody around him, and they still felt appreciated. Nobody was left out, nobody was slighted. So I mean, he was a unique individual, man. Um, really, man, it started off so small because I was in school. I was about in the 10th or 11th grade, and there was a clique of us that hung out together. Probably about 5 or 6 of us that ran in a little rap circle at school, and I just wanted to give us a name. You know, some of us were solo, a couple of us were in groups together, so I knew we couldn't all be one group, but we could be one organization. So I wanted to give us a name, and by us being from South Park, you know, I saw the word coalition somewhere, and I was like, yeah, they got a nice ring to it, South Park Coalition, and you know, it stuck, and we added people on, and before you know it, we was 25, 26 years in the game with members worldwide and fan base worldwide. So, you know, it was a blessing that just sparked from a small idea, me sitting in the classroom. I can still remember the day I was sitting in English class, writing it on a piece of paper, writing South Park Coalition on a piece of paper. I should have been doing some schoolwork, but I wasn't. And I wrote South Park Coalition on some paper, and I listed all the people that was gonna be in it. They didn't even know they was gonna be in it, but I remember writing down names like Rapper K and GT and C Rock and a lot of the original members that was going to school with me at the time. So. I mean, we have, but the difference is that LA and New York are media capitals. The labels are located there. The media is heavy there. You got Hollywood in LA. You got um, uh, 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 New York media. You have all these different avenues that contribute to greater exposure on the East and West Coast. We pretty much had to come up a little tougher than that down here, and we've had artists who have penetrated and ascended to those types of levels, but may have not, for whatever reason, been able to sustain it. So we have a place. We have a place in this thing, man, as far as hip hop, and we used to didn't. So we just have to build on it and make it grow, because I mean, you can't talk about Houston without thinking about some of the rappers now. Houston has hip hop has given Houston an identity worldwide that nothing else has been able to do for us. If outside of a sports team, if you say, okay, Houston, if you live somewhere else in another state or in another country, and you say Houston, if you're not thinking about a Houston Rocket, a Houston Astro, or something like that, then you're gonna think about the rappers, and you may think about the rappers first. You're gonna think about Scarface and the Ghetto Boys, Willie D, Bushwick. You're gonna think about Paul Wall, Slim Thug, Chameleonaire, Lil Flip. You know, the guys who have got down on those big levels. Mike Jones. You know, all the great artists that we've had to come through this city and represent for us. So at the end of the day, you know, we have a name and a face, but we just have to build on it, because we're not focusing on unifying with each other and keeping it going. I think that's the only problem. Um, did I say that? That was me? I thought that was Rapper K that said that. It said, I ain't no gangster. Yeah, I think that was Rapper K that said that. But if it was me, I can't remember the song, man. I've written so many songs, man. You know, a lot of songs that we write are just depictions about ghetto life, and not always necessarily things that we actually did and went through. You know, I've never been the type of guy that if I did do something, I don't talk about it on record a lot of times. But I've never been the guy that glorifies negativity in records these days. But Nah, I mean, sometimes we just depict stuff, man, to try to give people an image of what the hood is really like and how aspects of the hood are. But, nah, nothing really to that one. Nothing really to that one. I mean, that song is basically just a real life. I put a little humorous spin on it, but it's a real life scenario. People do that every day, man. It's a lot of things that we hold off from talking about, just for the sake of I don't want to hurt this person's feeling, or you know, it may offend them in a certain way. But we think about it. We think them all the time. So I mean, just people been telling me I need to make a part 2 to that. So I might do it.
So, like, what would be something you're thinking about right now that you don't want to say?
Nothing right now. Let me see, man. Nah, I'm looking around my house and I know I got to move soon, so I'm thinking about how hard that's gonna be. But nah, man, I'm in a place right now where I'm good, So nothing right now.
Okay.
All of them. I mean, if you just, familiarizing yourself with me and my music, I mean, I wouldn't start you at the beginning. Sometimes people say, well, you got to start at the beginning and then just work your way up. I wouldn't start you at the beginning. I'd maybe start you with some of my favorites, because I've evolved over time and I'm not the same artist now than I was back then. A lot of things I would say in 92 I wouldn't say in 2014. So at the end of the day, man, I would say, man, go get Annihilation of the Evil Machine, which is my favorite rap album that I ever made. Go get Therapeutic, go get Plantation Rebellion, maybe go get those albums. And then, see who I am now, because this is the fullness of who I am now. And then you can work your way back and go see my early stages.